Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're from. My name is Michael Gelber. I am the CEO, Chairman of the Board of IWorld of Travel. Thank you for joining us today to share with you our very exciting and very passionate about our Kosher River Cruise that we have just put together for the 2022 season. With us today, and I'm very excited. First of all, we have Zahava Baton, who's our Vice President, Global Sales, has been with our company for 30 years. Many of you, I'm sure, know who she is, know her personally. And just as important, more importantly, she's been a family friend for those many years as well. So we're really pleased and honored just to be able to have her in our family. Also joining us today are our two partners in this venture with the Kosher River Cruise. Sherry Gordon, who's the CEO of Gordon Travel Group, just a phenomenal human being. She has led Gordon Group with her brother Guy for a number of years. It's a legacy company, and taken hold of the cruising side of it. They do quite a number of things, been around for over 40 years, and really have taken the cruising to another level, having done Jewish heritage tours and Kosher River cruises from the Israeli market into Europe, and now we're coming to the American market, and we couldn't be happier that we're part of that opportunity. And of course, my dear friend Eitan Batat and his brother Oded with Travel Land, who actually brought this to us. They are air consolidators as well as a wholesale cruise, and just great people. And again, I think what we've learned in this industry is that we have a lot of choices of who we work with, and we want to work with people we love and care for. And I can tell you, every one of these people on here are those kind of people that we appreciate and are near and dear to our heart. And they will handle the operational side of it for us. So each one of us have a different role. We handle the marketing and the sales. The Travel Land will handle all the operations because that's what they're great at. And the Gordon Travel Group handles the cruise and all the operations on it. Along with that, as part of the Gordon Travel Group, is Natty Block. Natty is the cruise manager who makes sure that every detail is paid attention to, from the moment you walk on to the moment you walk off, from the experience in the lounge to the room, to your experience with the staff, to ensuring that it meets everybody's needs. Natty is just a professional, and the reason why the Gordon Group and Sherry have had him be part of this venture for so long. And of course, along with that is Shalom Brod, who brings the actual kosher experience and ensuring that we are honoring and respecting the traditions and the truth of the kosher experience as it relates to the ship itself. So you'll be able to hear from each and every one of these individuals throughout the presentation. And at the end, we will answer questions. And then at the end, Alita Paljevek, who is our president of our office, Gelber's Way in Europe, will take and ask the questions of our panelists today. So listen, I'm very excited. I'm normally not nervous about anything, but this is such an important product that we're coming out with, because really these are three legacy companies. Each one of these companies have had our fathers involved with the travel industry. As everybody knows, my father will talk about, and of course from Travel Land and the Gordon Travel Group, we're next generations that are carrying forward the traditions that our families have brought together, and we've come together as one, as a strategic partnership, and we call ourselves Shalosh, which I think everybody will understand the reasoning behind that. So anyways, let's get started. We're excited about sharing this new program for 2022. So Kosher Cruise, the Kosher River Cruise, what is it, and how do we go about doing it? What we are doing is we're going to provide you with kind of a Jeopardy. The question, the answer is, and then we come up with the question. And so we tried to have the answers to every question that we thought that would be important for you to understand, as well as your clients, so that you felt more prepared and more in the know in terms of how are we able to do this? Have we covered all the protocols and the necessities? And we'll be talking today with, well, actually, we can bring in a little bit at some point right now. Natty and Shalom, who I introduced in the beginning, you need to unmute yourself. There are certain things that we covered here. And one of the things I want to show, like one of the many questions that come up in terms of the Kosher River Cruises, how do you handle all the preparation of the food? How do you ensure of Shabbat? The ship schedule is an example. We'll be talking about we depart on Wednesday so that we can dock Friday before Shabbat, and then we don't leave until after Shabbat on Saturday. So Shalom and Natty, you want to just talk a little bit about the attention to some of the detail as it relates to these, and we'll talk more in length later on as well.
Okay, so regarding the preparation, Shalom will talk about it right after me, but regarding the Shabbat, we embark on Friday 2 hours before Shabbat. We stay in Bratislava for the whole Shabbat, and right after Shabbat, an hour after Shabbat ends, we leave Bratislava. The whole Shabbat we're there. We can go for a tour in Bratislava, wherever there's Eruv. We can take something with us. We'll go to the synagogue there. We'll have a tour there. Regarding the preparation, the whole preparation for the food for the whole Shabbat is prepared right before Shabbat. The whole Friday we're preparing the food for Shabbat. We're going to heat it up, of course, in the ovens the whole Shabbat. We won't eat cold food. Here, regarding the preparation, do you want me to answer only on Shabbat or the whole week now?
Well, I think we'll talk a little bit more detail later, but some of the things, one of the questions I think that's always important is how are we sourcing the food? Like, where are you getting the food to ensure, and then the storage of the food, and the ship is just completely kosher. So there's no risk of anything going outside of a kosher protocol, correct?
No, very, very easy. The whole ship is kosher. So there's no way of something non-kosher going into the cruise, because nothing is allowed as long as it's not going through us. So anyway, everything is kosher, everything is separated, dairy and meat separated, so there's no way of something not kosher on the ship.
Terrific. And we will get into this a little later. I just wanted to touch a little bit out on this right now. Thanks very much, Natty. And we'll get Shalom to talk a little bit more extensively later in terms of the process of turning the flame on in the morning and turning it off in the evening and being part of the entire process. Thank you for sharing that. And with this, you'll see this, we have the FAQ in our e-brochure. We didn't do it here because it's too detailed. In our e-brochure that you'll receive, it answers every one of these questions to the complete degree, so that you're prepared to discuss it with whoever you're going to be speaking with. Next slide, please. So the Kosher River Cruise is all inclusive. And again, you'll get a copy of this video and you'll get the e-brochure, but you'll see from the 7-night on the Danube to the transfers and arrival from the airport, the cruise porterage, welcome drink services, afternoon coffee and cake, gala welcome dinner, farewell dinner, piano musician on board, 24-hour complimentary self-service coffee station, basic Wi-Fi, captain's lounge, shore excursions, entrance fees, wireless earphones for enhancement during touring excursions, et cetera, including all port taxes, local taxes, gratuities for ship crew, local guides, and drivers. So when we say it's an all-inclusive, we want you to be clear that it is all-inclusive. And again, we cover more of those details as we're going to go into the presentation. Next slide. Okay, so let me introduce you now. We'll go into much more detail. Sherry Gordon from Gordon Travel Group. As I mentioned, they are been in business for since 1978. They are a global leader in their service and offerings. And Gordon Cruise is a company that's been specialized in this for 25 years. I'm just going to introduce you to Sherry. Sherry, you can talk a little bit about the company, since of course you know your company best, and then we'll go into the next slide and she will share the experience on the cruise itself. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Michael. I'm very happy and very excited to be here, and very excited to be a part of this Shalosh partnership. And I'm really looking forward to introduce this amazing product that we have created together to the travel trade. As you said, I'm not going to speak a lot about us, but Golden Cruise is the biggest wholesaler for river cruising in Israel, actually. And we have been dealing with river cruise actually over 30 years already. We have been thinking about going to this kosher cruise product for several years now, actually. And we started with Nati and Shalom. They have been operating kosher cruise on the big ocean ships. And when we thought about doing that on a river ship, actually, I think Nati and Shalom were very happy, because it's much easier when you charter a ship and then you kosherize the entire ship. And then you can really control everything that is going on board. And I think this is the major part here to explain and to understand. This is a whole complete kosher product. The ship will be completely kosherized. Nati and Shalom will talk about it later, of course. And everything that is related to kosher will be very, very strict and monitored by Nati and Shalom. I think that for us, the main challenge was really to find a way to combine what we know and do best in terms of creating a product, the best Danube River Cruise, and combining it with the kosher restrictions and limitation, and not, I would say, damaging the product. And I think that the itinerary that we chose, the magnificent Danube, which is going from Budapest to Passau, is one of my favorites personally, because we can combine, really visit the cities on the Danube, like Budapest and Vienna and Bratislava, and also we combine the scenery parts of the cruise. Going also, one part of the scenery cruise will be when we leave Budapest. I'll talk about it later a bit when we go on the day-to-day. And the other part will be the Wachau Valley, which is the cities like Dürrenstein and Melk, which really takes us to the most beautiful parts of the Danube. So we combine city experience and also combine the small villages experience. Now, as you mentioned, and Nati mentioned that as well, the whole itinerary was based on the fact that we need to find a place to dock for Shabbat. And it's not only finding a place to dock in Shabbat, it's finding a place that the docking will be actually in the city. So we can allow people to walk just right out of the ship and directly to the city without needing to use a coach, of course, and really can experience the city of Bratislava. And it doesn't have anything to do with using coaches. They can just walk and visit the city. So the itinerary was built on the fact that we want to be in Shabbat in Bratislava, and later I think Nati and Shalom will talk about what we are doing during Shabbat. So I think I would just quickly go over the day-to-day itinerary. If we can go to the next slide, please. I'm not going to go into details. I would just say generally that it was important for us to combine as possible in each destination to show the Jewish sites and important sites for the Jewish tradition, but also show the touristic part of the city. So I think we have created a really perfect combination of people that just want to explore Europe, but also, of course, want to explore it from the Jewish perspective. So the first day is the arrival day. We arrange transfers. Either it's going to be if you come to the cruise only, so it's going to be transferred from the airport, or if you do a pre-tour, so we're going to arrange and transfer from wherever you will be. And we are boarding the ship around 3 p.m. more or less. Then you have time to settle in your cabin, and then we are meeting again all for a welcome dinner with the captain and crew and introducing everybody. And we're going to dock in Budapest on this evening. Then the day after, we are actually in Budapest for the entire day. We're going to start, the morning will be more of the Jewish part of the tour. We're going to go on a guided tour, of course, to the Jewish synagogue and the Jewish museum. Along that, we're going to drive to the touristic parts of Budapest, of course, one of the beautiful cities in Europe, I think. We're going to go through the Opera House, the Hero Square, the Market Hall, St. Stephen Church, and the Parliament, of course. The Parliament, by the way, is one of the most beautiful parts to see when you're sailing out of Budapest. And we're going to do that in the evening when we're going to leave. And we're going to really enjoy the scenery part, the scenery cruise part, when the lights are down, which is really beautiful. Then we are going back to lunch. Also an important thing to say about river cruise in general, I'm sure part of the people know that, but we are always having 3 meals on board the ship. So if we are going to a morning tour, we're going to go back for lunch, and then in the afternoon, we're going to do another tour. So we are back for lunch, and then we're going to cross through the other side of Budapest, through the chain bridge, visiting Buda, the castle, enjoying the view, and then back for dinner on board. After dinner, we're going to have a live show, and then we're going to set sail to Bratislava. If you can move to the next slide, please. So we're going to arrive to Bratislava during lunchtime, and we're going to go directly to visit Chatam Sofer burial. There is a very important story about Chatam Sofer and his influence on the Judaism, but I'm not going to go into it right now. I'm going to leave that to Shalom and Nati later. But we are going to do that before Shabbat enters, of course, and then we're going to go back to the ship and start with Shabbat preparation. Nati, if you want to say a few words about how it's going to work during Shabbat, please.
Yes. On Friday, we'll, as you said, we'll get to Bratislava, and we'll go to the Chatam Sofer burial. We'll come back to the ship, do Kabbalat Shabbat, Kiddush, do whatever we need to do and we like doing Friday night. Dinner, of course, Shabbat meal. In the morning, we'll also go, whoever will want, we'll go to the synagogue. We'll go to the synagogue of Bratislava. Whoever will want can daven there. And we'll come back, we'll do the Shabbos meal. By the way, I forgot that in the morning, of course, we'll do Kiddush, we'll have breakfast and everything. We'll go for a tour in the afternoon, whoever will want. We have lectures on Shabbat. We have a whole day of enjoying the ship and enjoying the city, enjoying the food. That's most of what we're going to do in Bratislava, which is a beautiful city, and we can walk around there. Everything is right there.
So after Shabbat leaves, of course, around 11, we're going to leave Shabbat and we're going to sail to Vienna. We're going to arrive early in the morning, and then we have a full day in Vienna. And here also, we're going to do a combination of a tour that the first part in the morning we'll start with the first district and a bus tour of the Ringstrasse of Vienna, famous boulevard. We're going to go through the opera house, the palace, the museums, all the touristic parts. We're going to do a bus tour, but we're going to have some stops along the way for some viewpoints and some guiding of our team. Then we're going to continue to the Jewish part of the tour, and we're going to visit the Jewish museum. We're going to hear about, of course, the history and, of course, the synagogue. Then we're going to go back to the ship for lunch. And in the afternoon, we're going to go and visit the Schönbrunn Palace. If you can go to the next slide, please. So the Schönbrunn Palace, which I'm sure all of you know, it's the palace, it's the summer residence of the Habsburg family. And notably Empress Elizabeth, who is better known as Sisi. The Schönbrunn Palace is beautiful and very, very interesting to visit. We're going to visit the gardens and we're going to visit inside the palace. Now, this evening, we're going to offer an optional tour. Actually, that's the only optional tour which is not included in the package. And in the afternoon, we're going to come back to the ship and we're going to offer an optional tour to a concert in Vienna. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer 2 seats for dinner. So the ones that will join us for the concert in Vienna will have an early dinner and then go directly to the concert. And the other guests will have dinner on board as every evening. And then we're going to have some live music on board for the ones that stayed in the ship. And then around 11, we're going to leave and depart for Durenstein, our next destination. If you can switch slide, please. So now we are reaching actually to, I would say, to what river cruise is all about. We are entering the Wachau Valley, which is one of the most beautiful parts of the Danube cruise. The Wachau Valley is a pictorial valley between Krems and Melk, and it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's one of the most important region for wine industry in Austria. So the morning tour will start in Durenstein, which is located on the Danube River, of course, and it's known as the Pearl of the Wachau Valley. We're going to visit the city, and then we're going to come back to the ship. We're going to sail through the Wachau Valley, and this is one of the most beautiful scenic cruises along the valley. It's going to be during lunchtime, so we can enjoy the view while we are having lunch on board. And then we're going to arrive to Melk. The next slide, please. And we're going to arrive to Melk. And Melk is a beautiful city, and the city is dominated by the Baroque style. We're going to visit the Benedictine monastery. a very beautiful, known as Milk Abbey. And then we're going to have some time to stroll around in the city. We're going to come back on board, have dinner, and then continue sailing towards Linz. The next slide, please. We're going to arrive to Linz in the morning. We're going to stay there for half a day. Linz tour will be partially walking tour, and also we're going to use the mini train, which is driving in the most important sightseeing of Linz. Linz is the second most popular city in Austria, and it's a very known culture center of Austria and a center for trade in antiques. So we're going to have our last guided tour in Linz, back on board for lunch. Then we're going to start cruising back towards Passau. We're going to meet again in the afternoon for lecture. Then at 6 p.m. we're going to meet for cocktail, and then followed by farewell dinner. And the last day, it's disembarkation. After breakfast, we're going to organize transfers, of course, back to the airport, or for the post tours to the ones who choose to continue traveling. That's it, I think, Michael. Back to you.
Terrific, exciting. Like we talked about earlier, I can't wait to go out there and do it myself. So let's go on to the next slide here, which we have, which is food. Listen, I think there's a misnomer or misconception for people that feel that if we're dealing with a kosher cruise, that the food is really outdated. And the joke that one of our staff members says that people think maybe it's just, boiled chicken, with plain rice, but really kosher just is about how it's prepared, it's how it's stored, and where it's purveyed from. And you'll see, so what we wanted to share with you on here is the vast variety of food that nobody would have any concerns with enjoying and experiencing. And that's why I say that, yes, this is a kosher river cruise, what you would think for people who are kosher, but this is also open to your clients who are Jewish heritage, that are interested in Jewish heritage experiences. Because really, when you think about travel, travel is about going to a destination and getting yourself connected to the culture. And so what better way to get to the next level of a Jewish heritage experience without having to do all the work, which is to become part of a kosher river cruise and put yourself into the culture and the experience, really Jewish heritage 2.0, and allow those individuals to kind of experience what that's like. It's almost a destination within its own destination. And that's really how we like to look at it and how we think you should look at it. So we're just going to run through. You see the breakfast buffet. Next slide, you'll see the options and the variety are, as I said, vast and delicious. Next slide, even going into your lunch menus, your salad bar, your starters, your main course. I'm hungry right now looking at that. The next slide, please. With your dinners, again, salad bar, pasta stations, main course, carvings, and so on. It's vast, it's expansive, and it's enjoyable. So what we also, the next slide, if you have anybody that has special diets, whether it's vegan or high in proteins, whatever that might be, we can accommodate that as long as we know ahead of time. So we're here to accommodate you, to accommodate your clients, and to make this experience the best experience that they can have with a kosher river cruise. Next slide, please. What I wanted to do right now is I'm going to introduce Natty back, and to introduce Shalom and just talk a little bit about the experience, the background from the Rabbi to what Natty does, to Shalom, and let them talk a little bit about that to give you a little bit more comfort and confidence that this is from A to Z covered 100%, not only with people who understand it, but know it firsthand what that experience should be like. So Natty, take it away.
Thanks, Michael. I'll let Shalom introduce himself first. He's older.
Okay. I'm Shalom. I'm working as a Mashgiach for nearly 17 years. I worked 14 years in a Glad Kosher caterer who make weddings, bar mitzvah, and all this for Talmidei Yeshivot, and in Israel, of course. And working on big cruises, like Royal Caribbean and all this 3 years already. I made about 20 cruises already with some companies, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, NCL, and I know their work. What I'm doing, I'm coming to the my English, I'm Israeli, so my English is not American, not English, not Canadian. And okay, I'm coming to the ship early in the morning. If I can, I'm coming a day before, if I can. I don't know now, but I'm coming early in the morning. I'm getting a kitchen very clean, and I'm starting making kosher all the kitchen, like the ovens, like the induction. We have all the pots, the cutleries, the everything, the chipser, the everything. We have new. It's ours. We buy them, so it's all kosher. It's all new, and I'm getting the same day. I'm getting all the products on the ship. I check everything. I check that they didn't mix something that it's not kosher. All the meat, the chicken, all it, it's glad kosher. All the milk, it's Halav Israel, and all the bread and the bagels and everything is Pat Israel. So everything that going on the ship, I check it, that I can see that everything is on our this very strict kosher. I'm working with another two mashgiachim. We are 3 on the ship, and we are all the time, one of us is on the ship in the kitchen. When the food is served, one of us is in the kitchen to see that they don't mix something that it's not kosher with our stuff. That's it.
Okay, so I'll explain a little bit more, just to emphasize things. Early in the morning, we go into the kitchen. I'm talking, let's say, the first day of the cruise. Of course, we're koshering the kitchen, ovens, everything, the refrigerators, everything. We clean up everything. Everything is new. The whole, let's say, the whole kitchen is kosherized. And every day, every morning, Shalom or the other Mashgiach, which is another supervisor, goes into the kitchen, turns on the electricity there, the fire, everything. And he's there from the beginning, from when we wake up in the morning and start cooking breakfast, and also in lunch, before everything, during the cooking, before we start, during the meals, till late at night when we shut the kitchen and we lock it. There is no way that there's some cooking or serving when there isn't one of the supervisors in the kitchen seeing everything going on. This is important to emphasize regarding this koshering. Regarding me, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Nati. I was born and raised in Israel. My family is American from New York, Riverdale. I'm 32 years old. When I finished the army, I decided to, I don't know why, but I decided to join the tourism. I fell in love. I stayed. Not specifically in tourism. It's the cruise industry, and I fell in love and stayed. And already, I think 7 or 8 years, 9 years already, I'm in the industry. Managed a few cruises, kosher cruises, and with Shalom, great cooperation. We had a cruise also with Shiri together. This is more or less me. What else? I can't remember what else we asked here regarding the kosher.
No, I think that, Natty, that's it. And Shalom, that's it. I think both of your pedigree is very strong. And I think there's nobody that could have any doubt the commitment and the understanding of what it takes to ensure the competence of our travelers, to know that every detail is paid attention to and that there isn't anything to be concerned with. And I think one of the most important points is that that Shiri mentioned is that it's really difficult for anything to get crossover, because we're not sharing a ship with non-kosher expectations. The entire ship is kosher. Everything on the ship is kosher. And as we'll talk about later, there's even a temple that's on the back of the ship as well with the services and so on. So I think I'm confident that everyone can tell that every detail is paid attention to. So I appreciate you and Shalom sharing that. And we'll answer some more questions afterwards as well. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the ship. Let's take a look at the ship. I think sometimes, I joke about this as well, but I think people think that in order to be a kosher river cruise, it's going to be an old wooden ark that's going down the Danube that doesn't have running water. So we wanted to share with you the beauty of the MS River Voyager 5. It is a 5-star ship. Next slide, please. You can see it's long and vast. Beautifully, just the windows are stunning. Let's go inside the ship as well, and you'll see the attention to detail, the flow of from the lobby itself to the lounge. The next slide, please. From the stairwell, from the flooring. Next slide. We'll just keep going. The Cotton Club now. Part of the kitchen here and part of the backside, you'll learn later, is going to be converted into the temple. This is the backside here. From the cabins themselves, you can just see the attention to detail, the quality, the stitching from the pillows to the blankets, to the curtains, to the carpet. And let me just stop here. I come from the restaurant industry, my previous life. And one of the things we always paid attention to, number one, obviously, is the food. And that's why I thought it was important to show the food. But just as important are the bathrooms. My feeling was that anytime I went into a restaurant, I could go into the bathroom and I could know immediately how sanitary and attention to detail that the kitchen was going to be. And we did wood paneling and chandeliers in our bathrooms. So I thought it was important. Some people may laugh why we're showing the bathrooms. Let's go to the next slide, please. You can see from the rooms to the bathrooms. Next slide. From the grand suites to the owner suite. Again, just beautiful attention to detail, products that are provided on the ship, the colors that just make you feel comfortable and warm. Almost as just it's the home away from home. And so we thought important to be able to share that. And again, all this is going to be in the e-brochure. Sherry, let's talk a little bit about the ship itself and the different decks.
Okay, so I saw also in the Q&A, many people ask about the ship, what type of ship it is. So this is a ship that was formerly served American clients. So the entire product, service, food, and everything was targeted to the US market and was targeted to the 5-star level of product. And we are keeping that. Also, when we are doing the kosher product, we are not going any lower with the product. So we're going to keep it a very good 5-star product. So cabins are relatively big. Probably some of you know that a lot of cabins in river ships are usually about well, let's say about 15 meters, and this one is about 16 meters, 170 square feet, so which it's relatively larger than the average one. You see here the 3 decks. So we have on the lower deck, and I'm saying lower, but it's important to say that it's above sea level. So it has a window that you can see the view from outside. You're not under the water, but you cannot open the window. Those cabins are a bit smaller, and they're actually perfect for solo travelers, but they can also be used for double use. And they have the windows that cannot be opened. Then you have the middle deck, the explore deck, which all cabins are cabins with French balcony. French balcony means a window that you can open from the bottom to the top. And then you have like a sitting area, which when you open the window, you feel, when you open the French balcony, you feel like you have an outside balcony. The difference in colors, it's only about the location of the cabins, because the cabins in the back are exactly the same as the cabins in the middle and in the front, but they might be a bit more sensitive to vibration and to noise while we are sailing. Again, it's very, very subjective. Most of the passengers don't feel it at all, but it's important to say that. Then the cabins on the upper deck, the navigator deck, so the 414 up to 427 are actually exactly the same as the ones in the explore deck. They're just on a higher deck. And then you have the suites, the orange ones, which are larger, of course, and they have a larger sitting area. And you have one owner suite, which have actually a separate living room. Important to say is that we have an elevator that goes through all 3 decks. The restaurant is in the middle deck, the main restaurant, and then you have the lounge, which we will gather every evening for lectures and entertainment. It's on the upper deck. What you see as the Cotton Club in regular cruises is used either for a second restaurant for light meals, or for just like a reading room or a game room. But for the kosher departures, we're gonna transfer it actually to a temple, and it's gonna be an official temple for the entire cruise. Of course, Shalom can talk about it later if needed. The Solarius deck, actually the upper deck, is what we call the sun deck. And the elevator does not go to the upper deck. It's important also to say that a river cruise is a product for people that can walk independently. They should be able to climb stairs between the navigator deck and the Solaris deck. The reason that there's no elevators between those decks, it's because it's not allowed. And the reason that we can only allow people that can walk independently is because sometimes, I think one of the pictures that Michael showed earlier in the presentation showed that on the rivers, we sometimes do what you call double parking. Sometimes it's even triple parking, that you have one ship dock one next to the other. And if you are the second or third in line, in order to get to shore, you need to cross those other ships. And then you cross them while you go through the sun deck. So you basically go up to the sun deck of our ship, and then you cross to the sun deck of the other ship. They're docking just right to each other. And then you go down to the reception of the other ship, and then you can leave to the shore from the other ship. What else? I think we've covered everything that is related to the ship. The ship has 84 cabins, but we are only using 73 because the other ones are used for the entire crew that is responsible for the kosher part of the ship.
Correct. Terrific. Next slide, please. So we're not going to go into this, but just suffice it to say that IWorld of Travel, clearly we're an international company, that we have, we do land packages all over the world. So we obviously have access to providing pre-kosher cruise land extensions for 7-night, next slide, whether it's in Croatia and whether it's in Hungary. Next slide, and without going into the details, Poland and Slovakia is a beautiful 7-night pre-kosher land cruise. The Jewish Heritage Tour in Germany, 2 post-kosher cruise land extensions options here. Czech Republic as well. So we have a lot of variations that if someone who just doesn't want to come out for the cruise, they want to come out early, go out later. Next slide, please. And let's get to the pricing. So here's our pricing. The departure dates are June 6th and July 16th. Those are Wednesday departures as we've shared. We think the pricing is incredibly fair for what we're providing. When you consider having to create a kosher cruise, we think these will be sold out relatively fast. We've already had a number of meetings with other groups in the past to share the concepts and focus groups, and everybody is just waiting to lock these in. So everything we're doing has been tried and tested, not only with the experience from Gordon, the Gordon Group and Gordon Cruises, but also with us reaching out to a variety of focus groups within the travel advisory community, within the host agency community and the consortium community, to really get some feedback, and obviously looking at what other companies and other cruise lines are doing out there. So we wanted to make sure that we created a product that was everything that we thought people would be looking for, your clients would be looking for, and to do it in a way that is easy for you to market and to sell as well. Next slide, please. And again, we had the review, but this will just show we have a number of options. But here's the most important thing to keep in mind. We can do anything. It doesn't have to be one of these. It could even be if somebody is looking, and this is the thing we want to talk about, if these dates don't work for you, and maybe you have a client that wants to secure the entire ship, we have other dates available that we can do, whether it's kosher, whether it's Jewish heritage, whether it's a different theme. This ship is available, so we have dates available. So if the Kosher River dates, cruise dates, are not working for you or your clients, or you have a large group or a company a temple or whatever it might be that is looking to lock down the entire ship, all 73 cabins. This is an easy thing for us to do. This is really the business that Gordon Cruises is in, and this is what we're looking to provide in addition to the 2 fixed date departures for Kosher River Experience. Next. And one other thing on this slide here, you may notice the bottom, Gelber's Way is mentioned. We are opening, we're close to opening, almost finalized opening. We've already got the office space, just finalizing some business licenses out there, but we are opening Gelber's Way, which you can laugh at the name, but if anybody who knew my father knows why that's so funny, as a local office in Croatia that will service all of Eastern Europe. So we have our own local representation in addition to all the partners that we work with in Eastern as well as Western Europe, but in Eastern Europe. So we're very excited about that to be able to, and we'll be announcing that shortly. So you got the inside scoop on that information. Next slide, please. So we're at the end at the presentation, the formal presentation, and now if everyone will unmute their login. So whether Alita, Cherie, Zahava, Eitan, and myself, we will take the questions. Alita will take the lead on the questions and throw them out, and then we'll decide who's going to answer those questions. And by the way, thank you very much for participating and staying with us even to this point. It's been 1 hour. We're trying to respect everybody's time. We still have 80 people left, so let's get to any Q&A if anybody has.
All right. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here, Michael, and everybody else. Cherie, everyone, really great presentation. We have many questions. We already answered a lot because as you were going through the presentation, you literally answered some of the questions that were coming in the beginning. This one will be for you, Michael. What made you decide to offer this as an option?
Well, because I thought it was a niche that was needed. I looked at, listen, that's a great question, by the way. So we had the original option to just do a Jewish heritage tour. And as we mentioned, we own the trademark on Jewish heritage tour. So naturally we would say, oh yeah, that sounds great. But when you start looking at it in the market, there are so many companies, including ourselves, that offer that I thought, let's try to find another niche that is unique and can create an experience. This is what travel's about. This is what going away to destinations is about. It's about trying to experience something new. It's creating new opportunities, a new bucket list of something that you haven't had a chance to do before, and doing it at a level that would be the best level. So when we saw this small niche opportunity that really wasn't worked on in the level, the 5-star level in the United States, we thought this is a great opportunity for us to make a difference and to provide that. And listen, to be honest with you, it's something I know my father would be incredibly proud of. And I know the same thing with Cherie and Eitan and Odette, that, and again, I hate to say this all the time, but I get chills. I'm honored to represent this company and the ideas and the foresight that my father provided and to continue that legacy. So that's why we wanted this. We like to be leaders. And we've always been. IWorld of Travel, regardless of what our name has been over the last 54 years, have always been leaders. We have been the tastemakers of creating what the next trend is in the industry. And we've always done it with an eye towards making the industry better. It didn't have to be always us taking the credit for it. As long as we brought it to the industry, we were happy with it. And that's the tradition that we're going to continue to move forward with.
Thank you so much. This is a question that will probably be for either Cherie or Shalom or Nati. What happens when a person is kosher but vegetarian?
So I think I can answer. So we can accommodate any request that is related to vegetarian, gluten-free, sugar-free, everything, and it's regardless of the kosher. We can offer anything that is needed for those type of requests without any problem.
Thank you. Okay, next question. I think we already answered this one in the presentation, but let's say it one more time because I feel it's important. Did you mean that you are docked in the same place for Shabbat?
Yes, we are docking in Bratislava. Yeah, for the entire Shabbat. We're docking in Bratislava city center. It's a walking distance. Actually, it's just crossing the road to the city from the docking place. And we are docking there from few hours before Shabbat enters until a few hours after Shabbat leaves.
Okay, next question is who is your hashkacha?
Hashgacha.
I apologize.
I would have done the same thing.
Nati, this is yours.
The Hashgacha, first of all, the rabbi, his name is Nehemiah Rotenberg. The Hashgacha is Glad Kosher, Mehadrin. Whoever asked it understands the answer.
Israel cooking.
Pat Israel, Chalav Israel. It's very good Hashgacha.
Thank you so much. Okay, another interesting question. Adults only or families welcome? How young will you accept children? Shiri, I think this one is for you.
So this is actually a very good question, and I wanted to say something about that. So overall, a river cruise is aimed for adults only. Also, the cabins are double or single cabins, and you cannot put an extra bed. But I think Michael and myself, we were addressed several times by agents that asked to do bar mitzvah tours, which is a very popular tour that the Jewish community is doing, and usually they are quite a large group. So once you charter the entire ship, and I'm sure Michael can send an offer to whoever is interested in this type of product. Once you charter the entire ship, then there is no problem to bringing children on board. Again, they will be in regular rooms, regular cabins. So there's no connecting doors and no triple or quadruple cabins. But as long as they're okay to be on a cabin on their own, so this is absolutely okay if they charter the entire ship. And this is very popular to do when celebrating bar mitzvah or other kind of celebration, like a big family or group is chartering the entire ship. So if you have a client that is interested in something like that, so Michael can definitely send you an offer for full charter ship.
Absolutely, but and again, for this particular departure date, it's for adults only, 18 and over.
Yes, thank you guys. Okay, another, I apologize in advance if I say this one wrong. Will you offer Pesach cruises?
Well, for now, we are starting our kosher departures in June. So we are not planning any Pesach cruises. But again, as I said, any request can be handled if it's a full charter request. So if you have clients for Pesach, and I know it's a very popular product for Pesach, then you can address Michael and Zahava, and they will be happy to send you an offer for a Pesach charter for a kosher cruise.
Thank you, Shiri. And next one will be probably also for you. Are there choices in tours, or does everyone go to the same tour?
So Michael, do you want to answer for that, or you want?
No, you can. So I was just going to say that on the ship, it's specific to it. There's one other option you had for the concert, but the pre and post is where you have a lot of flexibility. Is all I was going to say.
Yeah, well, the tours, everything is included, but what we do is we have basically 4 groups on board. Now the program will be similar to each group, but if you have a full group and you're taking a group departure, so you have your own coach and guide. So you can modify the program as you wish. And then you can ask Michael and Zahava to do some changes in the program. And as long as the entire group is doing that, so that is not a problem, we can accommodate any requests that you have.
And let me just clarify what Shiri means. That we break it into 4 segments of ships. So we don't put everybody on in one group. So not all 140 passengers are going to be going together. It'll be divided into 4, so about 40 some odd people per section. So if there's and I would tell you this, we could do it by the 40 some odd group, the 4 different groups, or if somebody wants to branch off and pay for a separate private tour in any one of these destinations, you wouldn't get a credit for the amount paid already for the bundle pricing for the Kosher River Cruise, but you would be able to have a sidebar product that we could create for you to go a different experience. Absolutely. again, we're an FIT company, so we can customize anything.
There's another question. Do we or will we have the name and background of the kosher chef?
Listen, I don't think that's a problem. If it's needed, you can reach out to us, and I'll reach out to Natty and Shalom, and we'll get that information. Again, we want every traveler to feel complete confidence and comfort in taking this venture with us. So if that's the information that they need to feel better about it, we have no problem doing that.
All right, next one. Will you be offering air options?
Of course. Well, listen, our partner Travelland is an air consolidator. So if they can't get you, and we can block, if you have groups, you know, we can lock in some seats on departures from different destinations around the country, depending upon how, and let me put a caveat on that, depending upon how the airlines start increasing their routes and increasing their connections. So Travelland has been doing this for 40 years. So they're the experts in as air consolidators, as well as again, how we got involved with them on this, besides our personal love and friendship, is that their background is a cruise wholesaler. So yes, we can absolutely, and listen, we ticket as well, but Travelland has greater access and greater flexibility in what we can lock in for you and your clients.
If Rabbi is conservative, can a small group use the temple for mixed services?
Natty and Shalom.
Yeah, we're gonna answer. As I explained, the synagogue is Orthodox. If the unorthodox decide to come right after we after we finish and do the tefillah, however they want, no problem. Again, the whole time the synagogue is open, but again, while it's in the tefillah, it's going to be Orthodox.
Thank you so much. Okay, next question. What cabins have a real balcony, not a French balcony?
So there are no real balcony. There are only French balcony on board this ship. And as I said, I mean, once you sit in your sitting area and you open the French balcony, you feel like it's an outside balcony, but it's a French balcony. It's not a balcony. Yeah, exactly. The picture shows it perfectly.
Great question. If the 2 sailing dates will sell out quickly, will be more dates scheduled?
Yes.
That's the best question, huh, Michael?
Yes, it is. Let me think about that. Yes.
All right, next one. We have still 8 questions to go. So are group terms included in your e-brochure, Michael?
Yes, the terms and conditions will be included in the e-brochure that's sent out on Monday, the 26th. Well, let me qualify that. I take that back. There'll be a link to our website that'll share the terms and conditions because it's pretty long, and so we don't want to have it take up. So yes, it will be part of any collateral that you have.
All right. Is again a word I'm not sure about. Is the Kosher okay for Shabbat, Rabbi?
I will read it. They ask, is the Kosher okay for Chabad, Rabbi? Nati.
We'll answer. Regarding the Chabad rabbi, it depends on the Chabad rabbi, but usually rabbis of Chabad accept only kashrut of Chabad. We'll have to talk with the rabbi and ask him if he accepts our kashrut.
Okay, thank you so much. We are down to the last 2 questions. Are men and women separated for events or services?
Yes, and services, men and women will be separated, but all the rest of the time, no. While seated, no, of course, only in the synagogue. They'll be separated, all the rest, no, together, however they want.
Thank you so much, everyone. We had a couple of thank you notes in the chat. I think that you were all able to see it. Thank you to all of you travel agents and travel advisor who you stayed with us for an hour and a half. Thank you very, very much. Michael, I leave you the closing.
All right, again, just you said it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for participating, for those who hung out for the hour and a half, and Zahava, Cherie, Oded, Eitan, Nadi, and Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you guys.
Very much.
We'll talk
Thank
to
you.
next week.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much, Michael.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.